Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of Football Manager Therapy. I am of course your host Tony Jameson, and joining me as always is the one and only Rich Owens. Rich, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, pal. I'm very, very well indeed. I'm back for another week. Pretenders to the throne. They've tried. They've tried their best, but they couldn't unseat me because they weren't available this evening.
This is the thing. We've recorded on a different day to when we normally do. You've thrown them off the scent. To be honest,
I've bamboozled them. Yeah, Saturday night they're ready. They're raring, ready to record a podcast, but there's no podcast to record. Jokes on them.
Yeah, you just went. I can't do Saturday. Can we do midweek? And then there's a selection of them, a selection of pretenders to the throne. It's been like Gladiators recently. Just every episode's been you and someone else just running up that travelator at the end to decide who gets to host the next episode. But yeah, jokes on them. Jokes on them tonight.
Yeah, absolutely on them, and definitely not on me. Yeah,
not at all. Is now a good time to mention we have a guest?
It's probably a good time, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so we got a guest who was free on a Thursday evening and not on a Saturday. So joke is actually on you, I'm afraid, Rich. And to be fair, it's someone we've been trying to go on for a while, and he also has a podcast. So he's got podcast experience, Rich. He's bringing something to the table here. Okay.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Too busy to take my job, but you know he'd do a better job, though, wouldn't he? No, he wouldn't. He'd be terrible at it. Anyway, let's say hi to our guest.
We should.
Yeah.
Hello, Doop.
Yeah.
How are you, buddy?
Matt's changed.
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for getting me ready for next football season by making me busy on a Thursday night, ready for Manchester United Europa League ties. So thank you for that. So thanks for reminding me how shit we were.
I mean, I haven't reminded you yet, but we will absolutely be talking about Man U throughout the course of the podcast. We already said as we were leading into it, going, right, so we'll talk about this, and then we'll talk about Man U. And you just went, oh, as if, do we have to?
Yeah. No, I'm very much an unbiased Manchester United fan. I like to put myself in that camp. So yeah, I'll give you my honest opinion.
And what is your honest opinion? Let's just go for it straight away then.
If I said to you, what do we think of United?
What do I think?
Yeah, and then you went to go shite, and I go, what do you think of shite? And you go, United. And I go, thank you, that's all right. I was going to do the song. I can't sing. We're terrible. We're terrible. I'm not going to that failed. It's fine. We practiced that. We rehearsed it.
Job safe for another week by the sounds of it, Rich.
We rehearsed that before. I mean, God. It's a difficult season last year. It was difficult to take. The whole thing's was just a absolute ball of mess, and I don't understand some of the logic that happened behind it, why we got rid of Ollie, to be honest. I know he wasn't good enough, but like to then put Ralph in, and then Ralph comes in and he ruffles the fruit feathers, and he adds a little bit of petrol to the bonfire, and then goes, oh yeah, my mum's calling me for tea, I'm off, see you later, sort of thing. You deal with that. And we're now just back to square one, where we're just absolutely rubbish at transfers, take ages for transfers, and the Glazers are taking 11 million out of our for dividends tomorrow, when we record this tomorrow. And we haven't signed a player yet. We're still 500 million in debt. We have one of the worst stadiums condition-wise in probably the Premier League. If you've ever been to Old Trafford, you have to basically saw your legs off to sit in the seats, and you get rained on under the covers. We have no infrastructure that is positive. We have no players at this current moment in time where that go, he'll die to put the shirt on. So apart from that, great, to be honest. Lovely. We won the FA Youth Cup. I mean, that means like in 8 years' time we might do well.
People say you don't wear anything with kids. You've just proved them wrong there. Yeah. The FA Youth Cup is in the cabinet.
Yes. And to be fair, like great for the fans. And the fact that we've nearly sold out Old Trafford for that. It was a record attendance. The women's football, a record. We've been smashing the attendances there. It shows the fans care. It's just, it's painful to be a United fan. The one thing I'll say is, back in early 2000s, late 2000s, I didn't gloat enough. That's all I'm going to say. I did not gloat enough. I just went, do you know what? Oh, we won it again. Amazing. Hey, when it happens, and I'm going to say when, because I believe it will one day happen that we'll get back on the perch. Whole Twitter's going to be a lovely day that day. Because I am going to just be going, like, I'm just going to be setting up camp, just like, bang, here we go. Everyone can have it.
Did you have a little feeling that this was going to last forever, and it was just like that was your thing? Going, oh, we're always going to win. We're always going to be the champions. It's like that. It's that episode of The Simpsons in it when Homer goes, "I'm never going to get my comeuppance," and just that was United fans going, "We're always going to win." Hang on, we appear to be getting our comeuppance now. This isn't quite how we had it planned.
It's difficult. Like for a very long time, it was like I was looking at all my friends and I was like, all their parents are getting a divorce and all that happy ending. There's never a happy ending with you lot. And yeah, you know, oh, your mum and dad have just broke up. Oh, you got to go do all this stuff now. Look at us, we're the perfect family. Turns out we were not the perfect family. So Alex left. Obviously, absolute living legend. I'll be honest. I would be very difficult to argue again. Oh, I find it's difficult for somebody to argue against me of him being the greatest manager of all time. As a United fan, I've got to say that's got to be him. But he left at a convenient time, in my opinion. He left with a very aging squad. He was very, very lucky to win that league in that season of his last season. He spent 30 million on Van Persie at the age of 30, who basically won him the league. And then after that, left Moyes in kind of a mess. David Gill also left, which then meant that Woodward came in. That went great, by the way. And it's just been a catalogue of errors. And the worst bit is like the start of this season, as you can see over my shoulder. Ronaldo, I love Ronaldo. Ronaldo is amazing as a player. Maybe not as a human, but as a player, he is up there as one of my favorite players of all time. And to have him come back, to take my little boy to the game, to see him, to kind of that whole package is just like there's hope, and that's hope. And then that got took away really, really quickly. Got took away, and it's the hope that kills you. It really is. But I do believe Ten Hag is a good appointment. I don't think he would have been the appointment for me. I still believe we should have went and got Conte when Conte was available. I think clearly with the whole Tottenham, we've made a mistake with that. People may agree, people may disagree. But I honestly would not mind if we came mid-table this year and we got rid of everybody that does not want to be there and we played that team that won the FA Cup Youth Trophy and Ronaldo at top. Because I just think that we need a refresh and it's very difficult to kind of when you look at that squad and you've got players such as Martial who clearly doesn't want to be there. You know, he definitely doesn't want to be there. You got Luke Shaw that's been butthurt by a lot of different managers. I'm not sure he wants to be there. Harry Maguire is just, I don't even know where to start with Harry Maguire. I genuinely think he's a very good defender. He's just not had the support. Like, there's a lot of problems, right? We talk about Pogba. Pogba has just been announced today. He's gone to Juventus, and you'll watch over the next few seasons, he'll be absolutely world class. And everyone will go, oh, why didn't it work at Manchester United? Because he's got Freddie McTominay stood behind him and alongside him. Why are we defensively struggling when we've got Varane, World Cup winner, Champions League winners of Varane and Harry Maguire, who genuinely is a good defender? Because you've got players such as Fred and McTominay who wander off. I think Fred's great, like, don't get me wrong, but I think Fred needs to be a little bit higher up the field. We need somebody that can just win the ball back. We need Frankie de Jong, but we need Frankie de Jong in a team that's going to do well. Frankie de Jong turns up at the end of the season, at the end of pre-season, a week left of pre-season, he comes in, we sign nobody else, he's going to look dog shit, like everybody else has. And that's the problem. Like, Sancho is a great player, but he's looking terrible in this team, you know, and all these players, it's just like, and everyone moans at Bruno. I'm on a rant now. Everyone moans about Bruno, right? And they're going, oh, Bruno's overrated. He's all this. He gives the ball away. No, he's a creative midfielder. He has to take risks. He has definitely got on his PI, take more risks. He needs to find the ball in because we can't play wide play because we don't have overlapping football. We've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Boy can't cross a bun, let alone anything else. He's horrendous. Yeah, there you go. That's how I think. So I think we're great.
Yeah, Yeah,
But I'll tell you now.
it's the positivity that I wasn't expecting. If I'm honest with you, man.
I tweeted out.
I mean, we were all set to rip into United. So
yeah. No, it's
It's like, well,
taken aback by it.
I took the Mickey out of it, so you can't. I tweeted today. It is a peek behind the curtains. The 23rd of August. No, wow, that's my wedding anniversary. 23rd of June. United.
What's your PIN number as well?
Manchester United will. This is what I tweeted today. Manchester United will confirm their first signing this weekend, and it will most likely be their biggest of the summer. This is my prediction. This is because it will mask the Glazers taking their semi-annual dividends of around 11 million out on Friday, which is tomorrow. It is all smoke and mirrors, and that is what we're getting from them. Everyone goes, "Oh, you're moaning about your owners because you spend loads of money." We do spend lots of money, and I can't moan about that. But we're moaning about the fact that we're clearly in struggling times, in debt. Infrastructure's terrible, and they're going, "Oh, look, this is my 11 million pounds. Let's go put that into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and pay Tom Brady another fortune to go win everything." And breathe. Okay, I'm good.
It's I mean, as having another United fan on, I think I'll ask a similar question to Mr. Diz he was chatting United when we had a conversation with him. Is it more difficult as a United fan at the moment, kind of not only seeing the club struggling kind of on and off the pitch? Is it more difficult seeing that when realistically two of your biggest rivals, you've got Liverpool, where there's been a huge rivalry there for decades, and also your local rivals in City kind of overtaking you as probably the two most dominant clubs in the league? Does that make it harder, or can you kind of separate yourself enough from that just to kind of, you said you're more of an impartial Man United fan. Is it more focusing on the club and less interest in the rivalries, or does that just a little bit of an extra kind of, knife in the back?
I think for me, like the whole City, we don't have that much of a rivalry with City, right? They don't have the history that we've got with Liverpool. If you ask me, at the 3 weeks of the season to go, who do I want to win? Liverpool or Man City? I'm saying City every time, right? Liverpool are the team that hurts the most. And I think the bit that hurts the most about Liverpool is I look at Liverpool and I go, oh, what a team. Oh, they got some good players. Oh, look, they signed some really good players. Their recruitment's great. Oh, look at the way they do things. That's what we should be doing. And I think that's what hurts the most. Look, at the end of the day, only one team can win the league, right? And do I think we're going to win the league? I will tell you now, whilst we're in the 20s, we will not win a Premier League. In the next 8 years, Manchester United will not win a Premier League. There's too many teams that are too good and built too well. Man City are just a machine with Haaland up for top. We all know as Football Manager fans, we think we know the best about Haaland. Imagine him under an actual decent coach. You know what I mean? He's going to be insane, right? Not just some of these people that sit in their bedrooms. And that Liverpool side is just incredible. And I don't see any other side threatening them in the Champions League. I know Real Madrid did well this year and beat Liverpool, but Liverpool are improving. Real Madrid can't afford to do that sort of business. So when you look at the business that they brought Rudiger in on a free, and when they discuss things, they're talking about bringing them in on frees. Barcelona can't compete with it. They're literally trying to buy players, and they are waiting for us to cave in and finally pay the money that they want so they can buy players. We are in a stage now where this English Premier League is going to be it's just going to be a hotbed of teams, and teams are just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's going to be a very nice period as if you were a neutral to watch the Premier League, because there's going to be all of the best players in the Premier League. It's going to be kind of like when Real Madrid had their Galacticos era, right? I just got a feeling that we're just going to have all these quality players. And I ain't got a feeling that we're going to have many of them at United, because we're now on that, that decline where we're not in Champions League next year. That was massive for us to get into that. We might get Champions League next year if we win the Europa, but again, there's no guarantee. Will we get top four? I think it's going to be between City and Liverpool are top two. I can't see anyone touching that. It's going to be between Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, us. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put Newcastle in that. There's every chance that the way they're recruiting and the way that they jumped from what they did just with that little bit of recruitment, it's going to be kind of exciting for a Newcastle fan. And then you've got teams that can throw up things like West Ham. They can, on their day, they're a very good side and they can beat anyone. And that's a lot of good teams to try and get two positions, let's be honest. That's all that's left. So I do think it's difficult seeing them stride away, but at the moment we're okay because City are winning everything rather than Liverpool. it'll get to the stage where City are close to our 20 titles, and then we're in the mess, aren't we?
I was gonna say, what happens at that point then? Because you're right, you're saying this probably will upset Man City fans who are listening. Like, up until about 8 years ago, the Man City trophy cabinet was like Newcastle's. It was just dusty shelves. Like, there wasn't anything there. And they're going, oh no, but we've totally got a history. No, you've existed for a while. That's not a history. Like, if it now gets to a point where they get up towards those 20 titles, then what? Like, then you've got to sit there for potentially 20 years, really, like that gap between your last title and them getting their 20th. Like, that's a lifetime, an actual lifetime of people growing up with United being the second or third, fourth, sixth best team in the league. Like, what then? Like, where do United go? Do they? And I know they've had it before. They've had it before, obviously, because they weren't just when they won their first Premier League title. They weren't flying the previous seasons. It was a long grind to get to that point anyway. And then you had that 20 years of absolute dominance. How long before you're back at the top table, do you think? And who do you think is who do you think can get you there?
I think it's going to be a long time. And I think I'll be honest. And everyone sits there and goes, yeah, but it's Manchester United, biggest club in the world. They're going to get back there. It's Manchester United. Their revenue is just huge. They've got fans everywhere. You go anywhere, literally anywhere in the world, and you see it. I was in Dominican on my honeymoon. Granted, 8 years ago. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's just two kids playing on a dusty dirt track. They've both got United shirts on. Just like it's everywhere. United are everywhere. They're fine. They'll come back. Why haven't we done it in the last 10 years? Well, 8 years. I think if we give Ten Hag time and we let Ten Hag do what Ten Hag does, and there's a reason why I think Rangnick is left, and I think that's very heavily dominant due to the fact that Ten Hag went, I'm not interested in him. Push him away. I don't want him. I think there's a chance we could get back. It won't be as quick as Liverpool, since when they got Klopp. Klopp came in and kind of did some business. I just think that we're always going to really struggle to get back on. Do you want to know a really interesting fact about Manchester United? This blew my mind when I said it, right? So out of all the time there, right, since Sir Alex Ferguson has left, what player have we sold been the only player that we sold on for a profit? In the last 8 years, we've had people like Di Maria come through the doors. All these players, all these really good players that have just not done well at United. It's young Daniel James. It's the only player, and that was sold last year. That was the first time in 8 years that we made a profit on a transfer. So what that shows is we're overpaying for players. They're probably over the hill. And when you look at everyone that's contracts, we had like 8 players out the door this year. Out of contract because we've just paid the money. We've just chucked the money at them and we've gone, oh, they're not good enough. Let's just let their contracts run out.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what we kind of always joke about with Liverpool, that they get an absolute deal for, quite frankly, shite when they sell it. Like, I mean, we always make that joke of, whatever the transfer fee is, you then work out how many Dominic Solankis is it. Like, you're getting £20 million for Dominic Solanke at the time, £15 million for Jordan Ibe, like convincing people to pay 30 million quid for a player who's had like one appearance or something. You're like, how? Like, was it Ryan Brewster was 20 million or something as well? And you're like, how are you convincing teams to pay this money?
Yeah,
and
crazy.
You're right. United just haven't got that business side locked down anymore. Where when Ferguson was in charge, he knew when to sell a player, and he got rid. And like you say, it was Gil. Like, just take, and sometimes it was take less money, but get him out the door. Like, I think you probably sold maybe Van Nistelrooy, I think, went for cheaper than maybe you wanted to sell him for. Stam, I think, as well. But it was like, look, they're just going to have to go. Like, they have to go now because they're no longer fit for purpose. And it almost a precursor to Moneyball, really, going, we need to get them out because they're on the decline.
Anti-Moneyball. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's shocking. It really is. And we've got some great records. The fact that I can't remember the number, but we have a crazy amount of consecutive games that we have got an academy player in the squad. Stuff like that. It's great, amazing. But it just ain't going to cut it anymore. They need to. We're back in the 90s still, the way that we're doing things. Ferguson used to do it. We'll just buy the best player that we can find in that area, and it'll be fine. It's not the way that we've got to do things now. Football's a lot more technical and tactical.
I think the thing as well that you're lacking, and before Rich comes on the next point, the thing that you're lacking at this point now is so we talked 20 years ago, young kids growing up wanted to play for United. And that was the thing. It's like, right, I want to be in the United youth setup. I want to, like, if the scouts are coming and we've got trials, right, I hope the United scouts here, and they'll do anything to get in that squad. And then Chelsea, I think as well, was kind of like Chelsea Academy, getting the Chelsea Academy, getting the United Academy. Now, like, the United Academy is way down that list of priorities, and it's not seen as that sort of like pinnacle anymore. Like, you've probably got kids at school who want to go and get in the PSG Academy now, right, rather than United, like, where and that's a problem. Like, you know, the young kids now are looking, they're walking around in PSG shirts and Dortmund shirts, and, as you say, City and Newcastle shirts and Barcelona. And it's like, yeah, that's the thing. That's what they're seeing. That's what they're looking at. And if you can't get those good young players through the door, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, in terms of, you know, you touched on it, it's been, you know, what, 8-9 years now since Fergie left, and league titles, and, you know, talk about clubs like Manchester United being the biggest club in the world. How much longer do you think that you've kind of got left in that position without backing it up in terms of things like titles and trophies? You know, I mean, it sounds like it's a daft comparison, but, you know, I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and I remember Sheffield Wednesday being one of the more popular clubs in the country, going back 30 odd years. But I remember them being up there and being at that level. You know, now struggling in league, you know, struggled to make the playoffs in League One. And there's been a big thing with Wednesday fans for quite a few years, is that a lot of people had to say, look, you need to get rid of that idea that we're a big club. We're not a big club anymore. You know, 15 years ago, we're a big club. You know, it feels a little bit like it's like Homer Simpson chasing the runaway barbecue pig. It's like, it's fine. We're still a big club. We're still a big club. It like goes to the river. No, it's fine. We're still a big club. We're a big club. It gets fired out of a dam. Like, actually, now it's 10 years later, and we've not won a Premier League in, you know, nearly 20 years at this point. Are we still? Does the name Manchester United? How long is it going to carry that weight for? As maybe, you know, use it as a motivator to bring players in. How much longer have you got of that before it just starts to, you know, lose a bit of weight because it's not being backed up in terms of trophies or results?
I think personally, again, I'm not going to do any digs in this, so I'm being genuine when I say this, right? So, I think personally, we will be up there for a while. Reason being is that, you know, we are the second most decorated club in England after Liverpool, with their recent success. We have the most league titles in England. We, like I said, we are just hugely supported. We sell out every single week. Our away fans sell out every single week. And I think that is going to drive us enough to still be a big club. Look at Liverpool. Again, this is where I say no digs, right? Before they won their league title, it was 20 years before they won it before, right? And yet we still considered them, because they were up there on that amount of league titles, a massive club. I know they did well in the Champions League and they've added to that, but you know, when you've got Stuart Downing on the left-hand side and you're being considered as a big club, I think we should be okay. All right.
Yeah, Charlie Adam only plays for big clubs, doesn't he?
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
you know, when you've got a centre partnership of Charlie Adam and Joe Allen, I think we'll be absolutely golden.
The Welsh Xavi, I believe he's called, right?
Yeah. When you think world-class centre-backs, you think Ragnar Klavan, don't you? He's the first name that jumps out at you.
Yeah, he's a good player. No, look, I do think it's a while, but I just think we need to go the slow and steady approach. We almost need like a weaning out of players out, get a fresh batch in, get the belief in the club again, and not fake belief. Like, I wanna. It's terrible. Like, when the atmosphere has been going. I'm very lucky. I've got been offered a season ticket twice. Unfortunately, due to reasons, I've had to turn it down. I've had to just turn down this one this year, and I still have the opportunity to go all the time, and I get to go all the time, and like, it's still amazing, the atmosphere, even though we are terrible, and the fans still believe every week. Shit, we're turning into Arsenal.
The interesting thing as well, and I think what's interesting from a United fan's perspective, from us as neutrals, is watching United fans go through this in real time. Like, I used to be an Aston Villa fan. I've never seen that team challenge for the title by that one time that they challenged the first ever Premier League. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't. I was 2 when they won the European Cup, so I've never seen that. Like, I saw them win 2 Coca-Cola Cups that they were back in the day. Like, Rich as Sheffield Wednesday. Rich has seen his team relegated to League One. Like, my other team, Sunderland. I've seen Sunderland relegated to League One. Like, and for us to sort of like look at United fans and sort of be like, well, yeah, it's a bit shit. Like, we've not won the title in 8 years. You're just like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Like, oh, poor Man United fans, not having Champions League football this year. That must be a shame. Like, it is a strange one to look at. But when you look at the dominant force, because again, Liverpool fans would have went through it in the early 90s when they had come from being a dominant force in the 80s to then being a team in the 90s that had Phil Babb and Jason McAteer. Like, it's not the same, is it? You've then got to have that period of time to sort of go like, yeah, right, we're not challenging, and it is going to be different, and you just accept that you're another one of the teams who might win an FA Cup or win a League Cup or might get a European run, like you might win a Europa League or a Conference League or whatever it's called, flirt with the Champions League again, like those sorts of things that slowly get you back into that cycle. And if you are now looking at it, you say like maybe Ten Hag might not have been your pick. Who would have been your pick? And I know there's a shirt behind you as well that would be a player that you desperately would have loved to be United, and he may end up being United at some point. But if you were in charge of recruitment, there's your man, right? And I know you can probably wax lyrical about him for days, so we'll give you that time to do it. Who would you have wanted in the hot seat, and when would you have signed Victor Osimhen? Essentially,
6 years now. Like I said, I think I would have preferred to have gone for Conte. We didn't go that route, so let's forget Conte. Let's look now. Honestly, now I don't know. Like, people say, "Oh, we'll get Poch in." I'm not overly convinced by Poch. I'd like to think that we've got, it's been clearly documented we've got a team full of egos, right? He struggled at PSG with that team full of egos. So what's going to say he's going to be able to do it at United? To me, I don't think Poch was the right man. Ten Hag is up there. I'm not going to lie. It's difficult for me. I'm very much a sort of person that I like to see what we're getting. And there's not a lot of, you can get, when you watch Ajax play, there's a lot of information about Ajax, but it's all very one-sided because they win a lot in the league, right? So I think, it's quite easy. But I'm going to be honest. I can't pick somebody because now the manager's Ten Hag, and I've got to give him my 100% backing as a fan. But I would have gone for Conte before Conte went to Tottenham. I would have signed Osimhen straight away, genuinely as well. I'm a big fan of him. Been a big fan of him in Football Manager. I tweet him all the time. I got tweets back from him and everything. Before he was famous. Look, he's a big, powerful striker. He is very injury prone, but I could look over that just because he's a gorgeous man. But I think we need a new spine. That's what we need. We need to go and get that. Like, fingers crossed we get Frankie de Jong. But we need the others to work with him because, like I said, you buy in these players that we're fitting in, and it's just not working for us. We got to not forget also last year. I don't want to talk about it too much, but last year we went into the season. We started quite well, and then something happened internally for one of our players, meant that he was struck off the squad. Rightly so. Don't get me wrong. But we didn't plan for that, right? And I know it's bigger than football. Don't get me wrong. It's bigger than football. But Ollie lost his job because we weren't scoring enough goals. When you look at the I think it was the 14 games before that this player had contributed a goal in almost every game. So he's obviously relied on that player, and that player's now gone. We then decided to get rid of Martial in that transfer window, and then not replace the two that were missing. So that to me seems like we almost started our own fire. But I'm just glad Ronaldo's back, and I don't really care what happens next year as long as we just give Ten Hag the time. And if we if we get into the knockout rounds of the Europa League, it means that not a lot of people will buy the tickets. It will mean I get to do an away day. So that's good. Right, that's positive. I think. But yeah, no, there's a lot going on. A lot of bad going on at Manchester United. They need to get rid of this. My dog has whenever I come in from work, my dog has a face on him. I know he's done a shit in the house somewhere. Right? And it is a case of I'm going, for reference, my dog's called Percy. Percy, where's the poo? Right? Wherever the poo is, I need to go and get the poo out. And then we're good. That's what we need to do at United. We always need to go in and go, right, Percy, where's the poo? You. Get out. Let's put some Febreze about so the missus don't know. And then away we go. All right? And that's kind of what we did.
Just seeing Scott McTominay being put in a nappy sack, just get out the door. Nothing to see here. Just put him.
Percy, have you wamba-sacked in the kitchen?
Yeah, it wouldn't be past the halfway line because you can't do fuck all past that. So
missed the target again. There's a surprise.
So yes, I think that's what we need to do. Bringing my dog into this. That would be a perfect idea for me.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense, to be honest. Like I say, you do need to clear up. For me, Sean Dyche would be good. I'd like to see Sean Dyche going to United and just fuck shit up. He wouldn't muck about with egos.
I have been to 3 Manchester United versus Burnley games, and we haven't won one of them. And one of them I was very close to Sean Dyche in distance, not relationship. And to the point where I shouted something, he turned around. I'm sure he heard me, and I sat down very fucking quickly. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if he looked at me. I'll be honest, but I shouted something at him. I saw his head move like a fucking owl, and I just went, ooh. Yeah. So, yeah. I was with I actually took my wife to that game. Yeah, I don't think I'm not a big fan of Sean Dyche. I don't think Burnley should have sacked him, but the reason I'm not, I just don't see where he goes next. Where does he go next?
He ends up with the England job. We all know he ends up with the England job.
Oh, that would be
after
great.
World Cup failure. Sean Dyche comes in to get you lot all back on side.
You lot, you'll be supporting us in the winter, mate.
Not at all. If we even watch it, probably not. Probably not going to bother.
Is it on?
Don't think so.
I got a lad at work that's going. By the way, he's got tickets to every game, all the way up to the final.
Really?
Yeah, it's cost him a fortune. I'll let you know how it works, Tony, because I know you haven't been to finals for a long time. So,
not really fussed to do it. To be fair, these World Cups normally tend to go in the middle of package holiday season. So Scots abroad tend to already have their holidays booked, and they're not going out to a country like Qatar. They're going to burn in November, so there's no point. It's not happening. Plus, it's they're trying to get a pint out there is going to be difficult, so they're not going to go. Right? It's just
he says that he says that, listeners, but he's going to secretly cry whilst he's just making his own Scotland one to stick in the Panini sticker book. And his missus is sat there cutting out the stickers. Told you. It's like I know you too well, Tony. It's like I know you too well.
Yes, it's a very good point. But we go back though. That's the thing. We do go back a wee while. We're going to talk. We'll go to let's talk other podcasts.
Okay.
For a second, shall we? We'll talk 5-star.
Okay.
So things have sort of changed a wee bit. Congratulations, by the way, on 250 episodes.
Thank you.
We're on 255, I think, by the time this comes out now. But
I don't know. I'll be honest.
250 with the gaffer.
Yeah.
The big man.
Yeah, Matt was there.
just in the background.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have SI studio director Miles Jacobson on the pod. As many call him, Sir Miles. Just in case he's listening. And I'll be honest, I was I spoke to him before, but that was in a public domain. We were on a live stream that I was involved in, and he was super cool. But I thought, I wonder what he's actually going to be like, and honest to God, incredible. Like, he was so nice, and I think I come away thinking, I wish more people could when this pod goes out, I hope a lot of people that give him shit and message him, when's the beta? Oh, I've got a fault. My laptop, will it run FM? I hope they just listen to the pod and go, actually, he's pretty cool. He's just a normal guy that likes his ice cream, And yeah, I just hope, fingers crossed, people listen to it. It was super fun. It was really good to record. I don't know about the other 249 though. I'll be honest. Like, it's mad when you talk about it, and like when you do numbers, like you don't really you can't really quantify just how many that is. I know you can literally put a number on it, but like when you do it in, like, we're coming up to our 5 years, so that means every single week without fail we have released a podcast for 5 years, and that just screams to me virgins. And I've got 2 kids. And it's just like how is that even possible? Like, how have we not like come up with stuff? How are we coming up with new stuff to talk about? It's crazy. And obviously a massive credit goes to SI and Football Manager to produce the game so we can talk about it. But yeah, it's pretty nutty. It is pretty nutty. And like I think we are the world's longest running Football Manager podcast. I think that's the title they use in the bio. I'll have to have a look. Clearly, if you've seen my tweets, I don't do the tweets.
No, I mean, to be fair, if you're not, then whoever's leading it, like, nah, no chance, no chance, no pretenders to the crown here. Like, and it's the thing as well that, because I went on it a while ago, and it's not just it's not just recording a podcast, and it's a bit like this as well. Like, it's not just recording a podcast; it's the hour recorded beforehand where you're just chatting with your guest. Then it's the 2 and 3 hours afterwards. Because I remember the first time I did it with you guys, you were just like, "We're going to stay in this call all night. Like, it's up to you if you want to stay or not." Like,
that's something we always say.
I'm like, do you like? Hang on, like, I can just sit and chat and hang out, and you're just like, yeah, if you just want to sit and chat and hang out, we're going to be here anyway. Like, it's up to you if you want to go. And I was like, so it's that amount of time that goes into it, in addition to the planning, the prep, organizing 4 or 5 people to get together and then put out every single week. Not like me and Rich, like there's only 2 of us here. Like, it's a different beast, but you guys like have got so much to put into it.
Yeah, there's a few things that have helped it. We've had a very much a loose structure to the cast. It very much at the start was the 5, then the 6. Friday Night FM come and joined in. Then we unfortunately lost Teach. That makes it sound a lot. He's okay. He got over the operation. He's fine. Then
he's at the bottom of the garden after all.
Yeah. Then we've all had like a little spell where we've gone, I'm going to take a couple of weeks away. I'm just going to take a couple of weeks away. I'm going to go do something else, and I'll be back. And we've had some people that's gone longer, like for example, Curty. And hopefully one day we'll get everybody back in. Friday Night FM's had a bit of a spell out. Dave's just about to take a little spell as well. Spoilers. So at the moment it's me, Matt, and Mad. So there's only 3 of us. So it's a bit easier to kind of juggle stuff. But there was always that one thing that, like, the dedication is mental. I give Mad. I know Mad listens because he listens to everything. He's Irish. They haven't got TVs over there. So I give him some credit where credit's due. Like, he's from the time he's been on our pod, I think he's been on holiday 3 or 4 times. Every single time he's gone, he takes his laptop, he takes his microphone, and we record from his, like, wherever he is. And that's like, I'll be honest, I ain't doing that when I go to Vegas. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it's different with the 8-hour time difference, but like for me, it's like fair play. Like that takes a lot, and that's when you surround yourself with people like that, it's immense. And like I call those boys, like especially the original boys, like they're like very very much close, if not equal, to my IRL best mates. Very recently I turned 30. We had a bit of a do down by my neck of the woods, and my wife messaged Joe and said, right, get the lads down and come down, and they all came down, apart from Curry. He didn't come. He bailed last minute. I don't know Curry listens to this, so that really hurts, Curry. Anyway, listen, we had a great time. We all had, like, and it just feels like that they are like my proper mates. You know what I mean? And like, we're going to do other things soon. In July, we got a meet up that we're doing another one. Me and Joe's going to the American football in October. My wife and my 2 kids are going on holiday. Like I say, holiday, going for a trip away near Essex way, where Joe lives. In October, we're meeting up with his wife and kids. Just like it's like mental when I work with a lot of old people, and they say to me, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" Then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm just recording a podcast, or I'm doing this," and they're like, "What's that?" And I explain, and they're like, "Oh, okay. So, do you know these people?" I'm like, "Yeah, I meet up with them a lot." And they're like, "You met them on the internet? And you meet up with them?" I remember going to my dad when me, Teach, and Curtie first floated the idea that we're going to go to TwitchCon South Africa. That's great TwitchCon San Francisco. We were like, we're going to go to that. We're going to go. Should we go? Let's go. We should go. We should go. That'd be great. We'll go. And I went to my dad. He went, all right. So what's going on? Where you going? I said, we're going to go to San Jose. We're going to fly into San Francisco. He's like, we? Who's we? And I was like, oh, Teach and Curtie. He's like, Teach? Who's that? I was some guys I play Football Manager online. Have you met them? No. Okay. So you got well, I meet Teach in London, and we're staying in a hotel together. Then we fly over. We're all in a Airbnb together, and he went, "They're grooming you, son. They're grooming you." I was like, I don't think they are. They'd have picked a better looking character to do it, And I've gone across the world, literally the furthest I've ever been across the world with two strangers, and it is still one of the greatest trips I've ever been on because of Football Manager, because of the podcast, because of this. And if tomorrow we're recording a pod tomorrow, if tomorrow is my last 5-star podcast I ever record, I'll go away thinking that was that was amazing, absolutely amazing. And the whole time, it is a chore. And as you know, sometimes it's a bit warm, like it is tonight, and you go, the last thing I want to do is sit upstairs, make a recording, rather than sitting out in the garden with a beer. But yeah, I know Tony. I didn't know Rich before this, and now we've shared so much dark and deep, dark secrets tonight. I feel like that's it now. I know you forever. You're never gonna get away from it. And that's what it does. And the networking just brings. It's just phenomenal, And it's just crazy. The whole world of Twitch and the podcast is mental.
Well, I think the thing as well, before Rich jumps on the next point, like the 5-star, for what I've seen of it, of course, your friendship that you've developed from that podcast is amazing. And the other thing that I think is fantastic with it, and it's something that we've taken a little bit of inspiration from as well, which I'm sure you've picked up upon, because obviously with listening to this, is the lockdown specials when you did the mental health podcast, and you did every single day. It was lockdown 2, wasn't it? Lockdown 2.
Yes.
That was
the revenge of the fucking lockdowns. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was an incredible idea. And our listeners, if you've not seen, they're still up on YouTube, go and have a watch of them. Okay. This was the plan was to do a podcast every single day to basically talk with the 5-star guys about how they found lockdown 2, guests every single day as well. And it was incredible. It was so powerful listening to you guys talk and bare your soul every single day. And there is, you've said there, it's hard. There's a point when you can see each individual member of that podcast finding their limits and their breaking point, because you're going over the same things every single day, or something else has happened the previous day. And again, I remember coming on to those and coming in as a podcast guest, but leaving as a friend at the end of it, because again, you're sharing something so personal with yourselves and the other guys, and being like, right, they've invited me on for a reason. Like we can all talk at this point. And that was, for me, I thought that was incredible what you guys did.
I'm going to break the fourth wall here, which is definitely something you shouldn't do. I do a lot of my stuff as Doop, right? And people know me as Doop. We do the 5-star pod. We meet up in IRL, and they all call me Doop. Okay, it's that is it. We call Friday Night FM Joe. We do all everyone else, but I am Doop. Those podcasts were done as Lewis. Like for me, I've never spoke about it online before. I've never discussed feelings before, and to be honest, and again, this is really naive of me, but almost pre doing these pods, maybe a little bit further back, but actually no, I think it was when my second child was born. Like I didn't really get mental health. Like, I didn't really fully understand the struggles and the pains and the difficulties with having mental health issues. And I go dive into that about my son and the fact that we had some awful times with my boy, and I witnessed it all, and like how that's changed me as a person. And I go, some of those I can remember that I am holding back the tears at talking about stuff, and many people might say, well, if it upsets you that much, why do you talk about it? But at the end of the day, I forgot a lot of the times we were recording. It just felt like a chat, like you said, a chat between friends, And we had so much talk with you. I think we had you on twice, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was so much hard work. It was so tiring because emotionally, there was times where like we'd be in the call before, the three of us, me, Joe, mainly it was me, Joe, and Dave, and I'll go, lads, I'm gonna have to take a back step tonight. I'll be on. I'm here. I'll chat, but like, we like just stay away from my problems because like I can't talk about them again tonight. And it'll be like, yeah, no problem. Like, and we'll kind of do it. And I think again that has brought me, Joe, and Dave closer. To the point where like it's just crazy how those pods can do it and doing that sort of conversation. And there's a lot now that's changed a lot of my views. I grew up with like, especially like my old man was very much an 80s man, come on, get up, man up, crack on. Your job is to be strong and do this, and you got to do this. And it's just like, do you know what? I don't think I can do that all the time. And it's okay not to be able to do that every time. And it was very nice, actually. Again, I don't want to go too much into it, but my dad's side of the family's had quite a lot of problems in the past, and he lost his brother very early. And my dad's had a lot of guilt because my dad's brother was very fit, he was very healthy. My dad was not. He was a smoker, heavy smoker, a drinker. He's overweight, all that jazz, and he felt very much the guilt because he was like, it should have been me. And when we were away, probably early part of this year, and with the confidence of talking to these pods, and I say confidence, I'm talking to my dad for Christ's sake, but the confidence of talking to these pods meant that actually I've had experience of talking to people I don't know about these problems and these things. So now this is somebody I know very well, and I was actually able to get my dad into a point where I've never seen him before do that. I've known my dad obviously 30 years, right? And I've never seen my dad cry. Whether that's a thing or a thing, I don't know. But for me, I've never seen my old man cry. Even when, like I said, even when we had the issues with his brother and that. But we're sat over a pint and he's bawling his eyes out because I'm hitting the nail because I've had conversations about it. And I'm describing to him the issues that I've had. And he's got similar ones that he's kept with him because he's an 80s man. And he's like, oh, just come on, I'll be fine. I'll get up tomorrow and I'll be fine. And like I said, it's that for me, just by doing those 30 podcasts for a month, if anything, that's brought me and my dad closer. And I never could have ever said that would be a thing, and that it's crazy how little things can just have that ripple effect, right? And, it's just crazy, really mad. See, I'm getting a bit emotional now. I'm getting a little bit, emotional now. But yeah, no, it's mad.
No, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a really, really beautiful thing. It's like if you look at just the journey, look at the journey you've been on, because it's X Factor Saturday night. Let's just take a step back and look at this journey that you've been on, where you've sung some songs. But if you look at how just podcasting and has helped develop relationships outside of that kind of little corner of the internet. It's such a powerful thing, I think the way that you talk about the other lads from 5 Star is a really, really nice thing. And if they're listening to this, we've really heavily edited it. He's just called you pricks for the last 20 minutes, but we've
the thing is, they wouldn't be surprised if I did.
Yeah, through the magic of editing, we've made Doop sound like he actually really likes you. I'd love that you touched on the fact that you're trying to explain to your old man, I'm going on holiday with a couple of lads I've met from the internet, and it's really, really weird how you build these relationships with people who, for the most part, Tony and I, we've talked about this before, through the original FMT run, through the Matt and Tony run. Matt and Tony never saw each other. Tony and I have never been in the same room at the same time. I saw more of Matt during the original FMT run than Tony ever did. But it's it's that transition of to begin with, this is my friend from the internet, because you talk about friends online and your IRL friends. It's like, this is my friend from the internet. But then there's that transition to, this person is a friend, this person is part of my life, and I just happened to meet them online.
Yeah.
I spend more time. If you take my real life friends out of the equation, I spend more time on WhatsApp with people like Tony and Matt than I do other people that I have had
Weird
human
flex,
contact
okay.
with. Hey, look at me go! Yeah. We
Two friends,
two mates. Look, they call me Richie Two Pals. Okay, it's one of my many names. But yeah,
after getting a podcast, I got WhatsApp. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you. I'm guessing you had to tell him what WhatsApp was. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Originally, I was just working on kind of like I'd write a message on a piece of paper, tie it to a crow, and then just throw it, and then just see what happened.
I love those. They're brilliant.
I will say this though. Sorry, can I just add one last bit? Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Since they all came down and my family met them at this party, my in-laws met them. The change in attitude is crazy. Like they don't, we had to go to a wedding up in Crewe last week, and we had to drive past Wolverhampton. So without like telling them, I just went to Dave's house, knocked on his door, and how you doing, mate? You good? Yeah, sweet. All right, I'm only here for 20 minutes, but do you want to have a chat? Got in the car, drove off, and then when we got to the hotel, like my mother-in-law went, You're a bit late. Where you been? Oh, just went and saw my mate from the internet. She went, Oh, whoa, do you see Dave? I'm like, yeah, that's nice, And that's weird, that shift, like that, that shift. No, it's nice.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Like we've got so obviously the world's starting to open back up with regards to comedy and that now as well. And Rich and I are booked on our first gig together.
Ooh.
Back in December. So in December coming up. And that came about purely by me. I texted Rich, so I've got a couple of gigs booked in. And he's like, oh, cool. Like, what's the crack? And I was like, well, I said, actually, you need to get in touch with this guy. He's got a few things. Actually, let me see you make the call. In fact, no, I think Rich said, I'm free for that day. Quite presumptuous, obviously. That,
I'm assuming he wanted free tickets, right?
Yeah, I was like, you can come. I can just put your name down. You can come in, right? It turns out I got him on the bill instead. Wow. So I don't know whether he wants that or not, but he's now going to be performing. So that's awesome. Where again, you go from those little sort of things, and again, texting the promoter going like, right, I'm on the gig. Do you want the guy who's also on a podcast to come on as well? Because he's a comic. So it's just really strange, isn't it? It's really strange. Like, and again, like what I loved with talking with those lockdown specials with yourself, you mentioned about like obviously complications with your little boy when he was born, and it was those conversations where again we've not met in real life. And one of the first things I remember we saying to each other after the first podcast I'd been on, not the lockdown ones, I'd even said, so my youngest was premature. Like in a call with people, I've no idea, I've never met them. I went, oh yeah, so my youngest premature, and you were like, so was mine. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. We've got something we can talk about. We've got a bond here. Like even like at that point was just like feeling comfortable enough in front of you guys to open up straight away and say, like, look, this is my situation. This is where I'm at. And obviously, like, again, huge thanks to you as well when we did the 12-hour weightlifting challenge for obviously sort of helping spread the word on that. That was definitely. Again just really lovely, appreciated. And again, to see the Football Manager community gather around and support each other. I know Rich has done streams for charity as well, and it is just brilliant to, as we've said again loads of times, people we've never met and might never meet because they live in other parts of the world support people. They have a connection with how we talk, with what we say, with our experiences, and it's just amazing to think that this game that 10 years ago we'd have just played this game on our own, like, and kept out of the way, and no one would talk, and again we've had conversations that the communities feels like it's changing at the minute. It feels like it's becoming a community again now. Again, we said a little bit off camera before we started that it feels now that opportunities are there for collaboration, for working together, whereas before it maybe felt a little insular. I think people are now at the point going, we could grow this really well if we all just put our heads together. Like,
yeah, it's great. It's
things like this with the podcast going, right, yeah, it's great me and Rich chatting every single week, but you know what's cool? Get someone else in, get their perspective.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I think for us, it's why we try to, when we do the pod, we don't ever encourage people. We say, look, we're just going to hang and chill. Like, we want to get to know people better, We got Rich. Just so you're aware, if you ever do come on the 5-star, we've got an initiation. As soon as we enter the call, we've just all stood up and we just got our pants down, and it's just to make everyone feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you ever do, just when you first enter that call, just have your pants down ready. All right, stood up at the camera. All right.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
And I hope,
absolutely.
I hope one day that just cements in his brain, and we get him on, and he goes, "Oh, is that not a thing?"
It was one of the ones you'd said to me when jumped on early and just went, right, tell Dave his mic's not on. Just keep saying, Dave, your mic's not on, right? and it was me. I was the first one to go, Dave, your mic's not on. And Dave's like, all right, he logs off the call and he jumps back on. He goes, no, still not on, mate. Still not on. He logs back on. He goes, fuck, you're in on it, aren't you? I was like, yeah, I'm in on it.
The thing is, though, like, it's just, let's be honest. And as you two, both funny guys, like, it's so much easier to produce good content. It's so much easier to be relaxed when we're having a laugh. And I think I said to you earlier, I said we haven't met before. I said, look, feel free to take the piss out of me. Like it to me, that's just the way it works. You know, have a laugh, have a crack, and we'll just go from there. But it is, like you said, collaboration is the best way forward. And I'll openly say that if there is anyone out there that wants to do anything, just please message. Like, my DMs are there. Like, DM me 3 times because I'm terrible at responding, as Tony will tell you. Because most of my messages I go, I forgot to message you back. Sorry, mate. But like, and one thing I will say, if you've got something going on, again, this is, to everybody, but if you've got something going on that you think somebody that you know, regardless of size, regardless of audience, regardless of anything, would be great on, just DM them. Let them know that you think they'd be brilliant on. Don't send them a generic message, but just send them something unique. Send them a message like you've actually written it, and you'll be surprised by the response. Honestly, you'll be surprised by the response.
I think people's biggest fear is in terms of reaching out for anything like that. I'm the same myself in terms of like comedy, for example. I'm significantly further down the ladder in terms of work than Tony is and was pre-pandemic. There's that, there's that feeling of just reaching out to people that you don't know, be it in terms of the FM community, in terms of like trying to get work in comedy.
Yeah.
The biggest fear is always the rejection. You just, and it's, you hype it up that much in your own head. You're like, well, I'd love to reach out to this person. And, I'd like to have them on the podcast. I'd like to, collaborate with them in terms of content. I'd like to go gig for them. And the absolute worst thing that in your head, but the worst thing is they're not interested in booking me, in, making contact with me, whatever it may be. And it definitely, in terms of the FM community, there's not been a single person that I think I've approached in terms of podcast. I think we've just approached in general that hasn't been just ridiculous, like welcoming and happy to chat, happy to take part, happy to talk. Most of the time it's the same with comedy as well. Like, you reach out to people and he actually turns out like, oh yeah, that's a really nice promoter, or that's a really nice act, and I'll gig with them at some point. It's that internal fear of just being the guy that's like, hey, I'm a small creator, or I'm a comedian who's just breaking into circuit work. What can you do for me? The biggest thing you want to do, you're just terrified of it. Oh, I've got nothing for you. Sorry, pal, can't help you.
But
and that's
to counter argue that. What's the worst thing they're going to do? They're going to say no, right?
Exactly.
This,
exactly.
Right? I have said no to a lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff, crikey. She was very eager. That's all I know. I said no to a lot of stuff, right? But I've never said no horribly, right? I'm never going to just tell somebody goes, oh, could we do this? And I'm going to go, no. I'm going to go, I haven't got time. I'm really sorry. Busy. Can we try this? Can we do this? Can we, maybe next time? No one's ever going to go, I mean, if they do, they're an asshole. But like, the worst thing that could ever happen, but in that scenario, is they go, sorry, mate, I can't. But they're going to say, sorry, mate, I can't. Not, no. A lot in life, rejection is there. You get rejected in everything, right? Unless you're gorgeous like me. You get rejected everywhere you go. I have a 100% success rate on all of my job interviews, just saying. I've only ever had 2. One of them was my mum.
And the third one is tonight.
But like, there's the worst thing that can happen is no. And then you go, okay, but that's cool. I'll pest you again another time.
it's also knowing that no doesn't necessarily mean that in this sense. It's a not yet. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a not yet. Like you can go, look, right, do you want to do some stuff? Well, look, I tell you what, not right now. Bell me in like 6 months, whatever. I've got some stuff on myself right now. Like again, I'll openly say the first time that 5-star reached out to me, Matt brought up on the pod and went, we emailed you, we got nothing back. And I on the pod I had to go, I was in a good place at that time. Like, but you know what? When I was ready, I made sure I followed every single one of you to basically say, I'm on your radar. Like reach out to me. Like I'm ready now. Like I'll talk about it. And it was just like, right, let's go. Let's do this. And again, we had that conversation straight after. And the first thing you said once those microphones went off, because we were talking about obviously the podcast, we're talking about YouTube, cut the pod, and you just went, why are you not streaming? Why are you wasting the time
it's
on
my
YouTube?
fault.
Like,
it's my fault.
Yeah, Twitch audiences, Doop is to blame for this, right? Doop is to blame for both myself and Rich streaming.
Yeah, I remember actually that conversation. The minute it went off, and I went, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to say it frank, I went, why the fuck are you not streaming? Because there's certain platforms and there's certain people that suit certain platforms, right? Somebody that, and this sounds awful, but somebody that is good with humor, you need that instant back. As a stand-up, as somebody that does that, you have that audience in front of you. You have that instant reaction. You know when it lands well. You know when it doesn't land well. You know when to kind of, I mean, some people know when to stop. I clearly don't. But some people, you know where to find that right point. You need that interaction back, and that's why I said to you, mate, just jump on streaming because it would suit you to the ground. And I'd like to say you're doing very well. So thank you very much. I will take the 10% as discussed.
Yeah, and you know what? We always say from the start that that you are to blame, and the £1 that I've made on Twitch can be forwarded to you for tax purposes in case the HMRC are listening. £1, right? but yeah, like and it was great again to sort of have someone who was very open from the start and say, it's nice to have you in the community. By the way, you should stream, right? Rather than doing all the stuff. And again, it's exactly the same conversation we have with Rich to say, look, get on streams and make it happen, and that's just play to your strengths.
Yeah, and I think there's ways about approaching things, right? And sometimes you just need to be open and honest about things. And we could have gone away, and then 3 days later I could have messaged you and gone, have you thought about streaming before? But actually, in that moment and having that conversation with you, the first conversation, I've gone, this guy would be perfect for Twitch. Why is he not there? Instead of just holding back and actually, let's do it. Go, just do it. Go, run, little boy, run. And it's like I said, it's going really well. I mean, I lurk in the streams a lot, and I am a massive lurker, but it's doing well. And you would have never had the interaction with the football club that you had without doing that Twitch stuff. You never would have had that. You never would have had all of that kind of stuff that comes around with that if you would just start on YouTube. And that's the great thing.
Can't disagree with that at all, to be honest. Can't disagree. Yeah, no, there's no clubs sat around YouTube going, oh, you know what? Let's get some clubs from Norway to come involved.
They don't have YouTube in Norway, but only Twitch.
No, not a thing. But speaking of it, your new Twitch save, your new club.
We're actually going to talk about Football Manager now.
We can do for like 5 minutes and we'll go back to nonsense, right? Just
on the Football Manager pod.
I think just like in case someone in the podcast community listens out and be like, they didn't speak about Football Manager for long enough for my liking. It's like when we did the Football Manager show. My first show was about an hour long, but it had about 9 minutes of Football Manager chat, and I was like, I'm going to need some more, because people might want jokes about space bars. So let's talk London Monarchs.
Okay, yeah, sweet.
Tell us all about it. I'm going to give you that's the setup. I'm going to let Rich take the lead as well and jump in whenever he fancies.
Yeah, please do. And just chuck questions at me, and I will pause, but I might go monologue, so I do apologise. I will also say we have to legally put in at least 10% of Football Manager content so we could be in the category that you guys are in. Otherwise, we're legally not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Otherwise, this week's podcast is just called therapy, and it's just nobody's going to listen.
We've got 90% of our content is that, so we're totally fine. We're currently charting in medical professional podcasts. So
I mean, that could be a better community. It could be. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about London Monarchs. So London Monarchs are a real team, but they are not a real team because they are made by me. They are a team that are based in London. We play at Wembley to about 20,000 season ticket holders. We train at St George's Park. The commute's awful. But talking about commutes, we are playing in the MLS, in the Eastern Conference. I am a nerd and I love American sports. I'm a big NFL fan. I love my basketball. I'm just getting into my baseball. Dabble a little bit in the hockey. So I like my American sports. So why not go and do the whole MLS thing? So we've dragged him over there. We've made everything. The badge, the logo is a crown for the Monarchs. But here's the 3D chess moment. It's meant to look. This is what it's designed for. Honestly, it wasn't an afterthought. The crown spikes. I guess that's the terminology. It's meant to look like the London skyline. Okay. Yeah, see, that's meant to look like that. We have a home shirt, which is fire, I may add, which is the actual royal palette colours. So if you didn't know, the royal family have a palette of colours that they use for all their documentation and their graphical stuff that they make. And we've got that palette, and that's the colours that we've used. And we have something very special with the shirts, which we'll get onto very shortly. But we started as a brand new club in the MLS. We did one season where we don't actually play a game. We just build the staff, the squad, and all that we can do. And then we start building everybody in, and then we start playing. First season, we got a lot of free transfers in and loaned them out. And what we're trying to do is just build a bed of players so we can kind of do something with it. Because as you may or may not know, the MLS rules are quite tough with salary caps and international players and all that jazz. We got some really good players in, i.e. Timo Pukki is literally a legend in the MLS. He is very, very good. Also, players that you may know, we mentioned him already. Clavan, we brought Clavan in. We brought Mangala in. I know, like of all players for you to mention, and we have him in the squad. We've brought some really good players in. First season, we did really, really well. We stumbled across a system that did well, but conceded loads, but we scored lots of goals. Like Pukki got loads of goals. We played Vancouver Whitecaps. We lost 8-7 to them. Like, what a game. And we were finding that, like, our away games, we were doing quite badly because obviously, I'm assuming the travel. I mean, the travel distance is no different if New York was to play LA as it is London to play. But the problem is we were kind of home on the Saturday, away on the Wednesday, home on the Saturday. So like there was quite a lot of flying. But the fixtures have been quite good actually because we are having like banks of away games, banks of home games. The problem is that we do struggle away and it's a bit tough like that. But we actually did really well. We won the Shield, which is the overall league, and then we won the cup. So we actually did like amazingly first season. And I was thinking, oh, this is really. Oh, look how good I am. I had Adnan Januzaj as well, was my third DP player. We managed to get him in. We won it. He then went, I'm leaving. I'm gone. Like MLS is not for me, sir. I said, oh, okay, goodbye. He went, and then we did really badly to start next season. We lost like the first 7 games or something. We got knocked out of the Champions League against Atlas. There was a joke there, but I'm not going to make it. But they're a very good side in Mexico, basically. We got knocked out against them. And we just had like a terrible start to the MLS. I managed to bring Haidara in from Leipzig, who is like the best player in the league, as a Mizala. He has long shots of 12, which doesn't sound a lot. In the MLS, that's like amazing. And like some of the goals he scores is just fire. But we have just managed to get back to the top of the league in season 2. We've had a couple of good streams where we've not lost a game, change of system, tweaking it a bit, actually playing at FM, and we're doing all right. We're doing all right. But the main focus of the save is, and I love the MLS, like I said, but the main thing is charity. We spoke about charity. I've done multiple charity streams. We did one for Bliss. We've done one for eating disorder, and this one is a charity that's very close to one of my viewers. They're called Spread a Smile UK, and they actually we've had permission off them to use their logo on the shirts. We're now selling the shirts. They are now available to be purchased. As this podcast goes live, the away one should be available too. 100%. I'm even paying the fees out of my own pocket, so 100% of the profit goes to Spread a Smile UK. They're really happy about being on board. We've just shown them the figures for the first run of the shirt, and they are ecstatic with how that's gone. And I'm like, we're just getting started. Like, we're not, we haven't even really pushed. We're gonna do a marathon stream, which I normally do, as people know. I like to do 24, 48 hours. I'm planning 60 hours, but the problem is I got no holiday left. So I either need to kind of like work something nicely with the boss and see if he'll let me. But at the moment, we're going to try and do lots of things. And we've been in touch with SI. They're going to do loads of giveaways. And basically, the main focus of that is just raising money for charity and raising as much as we can. Previously, we did 2,500 for Bliss. Was it? No, 2,500 for beat eating disorder. And then we did 3,200 for Bliss. So we do, it again, shows incredible. And we talked about the community and the community coming together. The Bliss one, we raised 2,500. 150 of that were people that I knew IRL. The rest was just the community. That just shows how how amazing these people are, right? People that don't know me, don't know my story, don't know anything, are like, yeah, actually, I'll support that. I'm assuming, and this is very much assuming, that the links will be in the description. I earn absolutely zero off of this. The shirts are tremendous. They look absolutely great. Friday Night FM has worked hard on them, and then FM Works has gone and produced them and made them. Please just go and have a look. Like I said, I'm not forcing anyone to buy anything. I think they are valued at, we're charging at £32 at the moment. And then you ship postage on top of that. We will post anywhere. As long as you've got a letterbox, I will put it through that letterbox. I want anyone and everyone. We have got people from, loads of people from England. We've got people from America. We've got people from Australia. We've even got somebody from Ireland that's bought one. So we're going all across the globe. So yeah, I know that's a really selfish plug, but it's 100% of it goes to charity. And I want to stress that I'm not going to just come on your pod and plug shit that's earning me money. So please go and have a little look. But yeah, no, it's awesome. Loving the save. I love the fact that a lot of people in the stream are playing the save as well. And people are getting like, I've got Gareth Bale. I'm paying him 12 million a year. Yeah, okay, well, now you've got 3 million the rest to pay everybody else. How are you going to do that? And a lot of people are coming in asking questions like I know everything about the MLS, which is quite tough because I have to basically just blag it and pretend that I do know. And then I learn things because I don't know. But yeah, Monarchs are cool. There you go, Monarch.
I love it. I genuinely love it. There's two things I love about this. Okay, there's two things I love. So one is obviously London Monarchs. I love. The second you said, it's that. I was like, lovely little nod to the European and American football team.
Yes,
like because in draft mode, some people who listen to the pod might not know this, but some people do. I'm an AI manager. In draft mode. Okay, so you can draft
weird
against
flex.
Me, essentially, right? The team, and it is a weird flex.
The difficulty is really easy, by the way.
But oh yeah. I mean, I'm not good. Like I'm not. It might as well be like drafting against me in real life, right?
Yeah. AI Tony's favorite formation is no.
There's a video idea for you. Get somebody on to play
against myself.
Yeah, that's selfish. I was going to say Richard draft against you IRL and then against your AI and see who does better.
Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. I like that actually. But what I was going to say was the team that I pick in AI draft mode is called the DC Presidents.
Okay.
And that is a little reference to my hometown of Washington.
Yeah.
They obviously gave their name to DC. And that's where DC is named after. And the American football team up there is called the DC Presidents.
Nice.
So that's a nice little thing. So when I saw that, I was just like, "Ooh, I like that. I like that little nod."
So what we tried to do, actually, we were going to base them by me, right by me, and we had a charity that we wanted to work with, and this. I'm not going to name the charity, but it is tough, and it shows like how much planning has had to go in such a short time. So even though we're raising money for them, and we're not earning any money from it, I still need to have written permission to use their logo by law. Okay, so I can't just put their logo on, print it, and sell it because I'm using their logo. You know, they own the rights to that. So there's a charity that's local to me that I really wanted to use because, like, I don't know. When we did the marathon stream, I thought that like I could have adverts because I could literally go to the charity and show the great work that they do, almost like Ricky Gervais in Africa. You know what I mean? That sort of thing, and kind of really like show where your money's going. And they said no. They said they don't want to get involved. They're just happy doing what they're doing and just didn't want the difficulty. And it was difficult getting an email back from them, let alone anything else. And eventually, when we decided not to use them and go somewhere else, they then came back and just said, "I love the idea. It's great, but unfortunately, this is not something we want to get involved in." So, if you do want to replicate this, crack on, because any money that we can do is brilliant for charity. But just please make sure you ask because you don't want a lawsuit on your hands. Yeah, we sold 20 shirts. We've earned this money, but that's going to my lawyer. All right, thanks guys. Cheers. But no, it just shows that, you know, we've done everything for the book. Everything's super cool, and I'm hoping that when I'm in London next to pop down. The charity is based in London, very actually not far from Wembley as well. So it's all kind of quite nice, you know. So yeah, it's given me a really good buzz. We've got a select few. It's not as popular as most saves, but to me, I think it's one of my favorite saves I've done this year.
Awesome, man. Is it that level of kind of, you know, not only what you're doing kind of behind the scenes in terms of raising money for charity, we're also at that kind of, you know, you see a lot of I've seen a lot of tweets over the last couple of weeks where people are like, hey, right, who's got their plans in place ready for FM23? Almost like they're just saying, well, you know, we've got to June, and I'm kind of, my enjoyment of FM22 is kind of coming to a close. Are you enjoying it just because it's that, you know, as you said yourself, you're a massive American sports guy. Does that kind of come into it? Have you had like MLS saves recently that you've had the same kind of level of investment in, or is this because this is your baby from kind of, you know, from badge design to kit design to color palettes? Does that kind of give you that added level of investment in the save?
For me, I'm a sucker for the game. So to go into a little bit of detail, my save last year took me to the day before the beta save. I did a thing called the Achievement Hunter, where I went out to get every single achievement in the game, which I did do, but it was the day before the game come out. Season before that, we did a Palermo save, which took me, I think it was about 8 months IRL to complete. And again, we won the Champions League, which was the pinnacle, the day before the beta comes out. This year, we've done a Pentagon / GOAT challenge, which it hasn't been announced, but it will be announced before this. I have now completed. So we are now gone from unemployed, the Pentagon, to the top of the Hall of Fame in 29 years, I think it was. With, I think it was 26 years of that was streamed. The rest was played offline because it was dull. We then did a Manchester United save for 6 seasons. And now we're doing this. I just love playing the game. And it sounds stupid, but like, to me, I will play this up to the beta. Not this save. We might have another save afterwards. But I will play FM till the beta and then play the next one. And I don't really have a break. And you talk about plans for next year, and I kind of exhaled because I've kind of sorted what I want to do, but I just don't. I'm running out of challenges. And that's not sounding big-headed and blowing smoke. I have a lot of time on my hands to do them. And there's a couple that I really want to do, but the GOAT challenge and the whole Pentagon really is great fun, but it took me out. It took me out of a lot of my comfort zones this year. I think I want to kind of get back into a comfort zone to then come out again. So I'm thinking about next year. Yeah, it's difficult. And as content creators and people that make content, you'll understand exactly what I mean by this. It's very easy when you're just playing the game at home in your bedroom or on your sofa to go, oh, I'm going to do an Arsenal save. You play it for 2 hours and go, oh, that was terrible. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. You can't do that when you stream. You can't do that when you make content. You have to go so balls deep with it, because if I start a new save tomorrow and then the next day I start a new save because I can't work out what save I want, who's going to watch the third day? Because is he going to play the save before, or was he going to start? No one's going to, it's just not going to captivate any audience. And that for me is why really when these saves come about, every save this year has been mental. Like the GOAT challenge is a mental save. The United save where we edited the database, so we had the third worst reputation in the Premier League. We made it that we had 3 transfers per season maximum. We're trying to make it as hard as we can, and then this is a brand new side in the MLS. It's just we're trying to make it so it's difficult, but yet enjoyable. It's a tough thing to juggle, as you probably well know, with your story mode as well, like your story hunter. It's not an easy thing to kind of pick these up and just jump on them. People just like jump in your stream and they go, "Oh, you're doing another United save." Well, I'm not. If you took the time and actually watched and read and learned what I do, and this is not just like your average United save, and people don't realize the amount of work that gets put on behind the scenes before you load up the stream and before you hit play.
I think that's the thing in it, and it's being able to then articulate your save in a really succinct manner. And I'm not great at that. Like I'm sort of like, as you can tell, I'm a bit wordy and a bit paddy in parts as well. Like, but just having those ideas, like, I mean, we started off with Build a Nation Indonesia was what we started with, and then we sort of went for a bit of a journeyman because we thought, well, we're not going to get Build a Nation because obviously a lot of information came out that the Build a Nation didn't quite work the way we all thought it was going to work. So I was like, right, let's do a journeyman. Interesting that very quickly went because there was no point to it. No. So I was like, right, let's try and think of something new. So we came out with this story hunter, which again is also almost the anti-achievement hunter, really. Yeah. And just going with the whole thing of my chat going, we're a bit shit at this game, right? We all know that, right? For us, we're not here to win things. Like we avoid relegation. That's what we do. Like, and my chat love that. They're just like, yeah, let's struggle. So I was like, right, it's essentially a journeyman, but we'll just give it a fancy name. And all of a sudden people are on board with it and they're just like, yeah, cool. Like, again, the night before recording this podcast, it was going brilliantly. I was loving it. Like with 3 seasons in, having a great time at Brackley. And then last night's stream was horrific. We crushed 9 defeats in a row, right? I don't know how we did 9 defeats in a row. And then the board were going, well, you're going to get sacked. And I was like, what? Like, that's not a thing. And they were, yeah, you've got a month to sort this out. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the chat was going, oh, Tony, no. Like, just... and because people bought into the idea of the save, they were like, no, we can't. Like, we're having fun. How has this gone like this? And you know what? In classic TJ fashion, though, we got a month to save our job. And in the 7 games that we played that month, we drew 3, won 3, lost 1, and we saved our job. And I was like, I'm logging off. That's me done for the night. The board went, we don't know what we're worried about. And I was like, oh, thank God for that. Because you're right. Like, to then have to change, it would have been fine. We'd have just kept going because it's a journeyman. Yeah. But you're right, to be in that cycle where like you're constantly changing teams. Like, your viewers don't know. Like, they can't keep up with it. And it's just trying to find that thing. Like Rich, you've sort of had this thing, and again, Doop will take your view on as well. Like, do you pick the save for you, or do you pick the save for your audience? Rich, we'll go you first.
Now, this year, because obviously my streaming or lack thereof for the kind of first 2-3 months of the game cycle, just changing personal circumstances, I had to stop streaming for 3-4 months. When I got back in, originally I was like, the first save idea was like, oh, this might, it was tier 10 hometown club. Not massively dissimilar to the Monarchs in the sense that my one of my hometown clubs, they're in the tier 10 of the football pyramid. They play at Worcester Warriors Stadium, so the rugby club. They share it with them, so it's a 12,000 capacity stadium, and you're averaging about 20 people per game, which I just thought was, let's just do that. I've got about 4 streams in, and I was like, this just isn't working. It's not. I'm not enjoying it, and if I'm not enjoying it, people watching clearly aren't enjoying it. Then I did Lille. Lille's a save that I've done on and offline, well, mostly offline, but for about last 3 or 4 FMs. There's a shirt in Doop's background which I popped me because there's a certain striker that spent some time at Lille that I'm a little bit in love with. He's from Nigeria and he's gorgeous. But again, it wasn't like, yeah, exactly. That's the one. That's the boy. But yeah, I was like, it was going okay. It was going okay. I was enjoying it, but then it wasn't necessarily doing as well in terms of audience. So again, I was like, well, I've got to switch it up, find the happy middle ground. And I'm now using Mad Scientist's 92, 93 database, doing Sheffield Wednesday. I don't normally do Sheffield. I don't manage Sheffield Wednesday offline, even pre-streaming. I don't do Sheffield Wednesday saves. I don't like the IRL misery and the virtual misery. I can't deal with both. So it's like, if I'm going to watch them lose every week, I don't then want to go and manage them and struggle managing the virtual team. But 92, 93, it's 30 years ago. It's the glory days. It's Carlton Palmer. It's Chris Waddle. It's it's now Jose Luis Chilavert in goal, taking free kicks. It's that for me. There's enough there to keep me entertained, and I think there's enough to kind of keep an audience on board as well. And very much like you've said, your previous saves that you've gone through to the day before the beats dropped. I don't see myself starting anything new now until the end of the cycle, unless it all goes horribly wrong and I get the sack. But that's where I think I'm comfortable. That's where I'm happy, and I think that it's a nice middle ground. Audience seem to enjoy it. I'm also enjoying it. Ben talked about it when he was on. If you're not enjoying the content you're making, the audience aren't going to enjoy you making it. So yeah, it's good to know when to cut and run. But at the same time, you don't want to be that guy who's like, hey, here's my new save. And then like 3 weeks later, hey, here's my new save, because there's no time to get invested. Like, part of content creation, people are enjoying watching, people may enjoy the gameplay, but they're also there to enjoy you. And I don't think it's possible. Like I say, sit on the sofa. I'm going to start a save with, like I say, Arsenal. 2 hours in, this is terrible. Like, you've got to be enjoying it. And it takes a while for the audience to get invested in you enjoying the content that you're making.
Good. Yeah. For me, it's solely on me. I pick a save that, and I don't mean to again sound big-headed, but I do like to do the challenges. I like to do difficult saves, and I like to say that I'm relatively competent on the game, especially against AI. But for me, I live and die by the fact that if I'm enjoying it, somebody else will. And I think it's easy to sell. It's easy to sell a save that I'm enjoying rather than a good idea. Which is why I find it difficult when people put on Twitter like, I'm going to start a new save tonight. Here's my 4 choices. Which one should I be? Or here, pick a poll, and whoever wins is the one that we're going to be. And it's like, well, I appreciate that you may have gone through and thought about all 4 of those, but that you in your heart's going to have one. I hope they pick this one. And I think that you've got to go with what you know and love. And at the end of the day, if you love it, somebody else will.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think you see those things, and like, I'll be honest, I've been guilty of that in the past. I think my first stream, I think, was me asking, "Oh no, what should we do?" And I think the choices were Sunderland, Sampdoria, and who else did I have? It was somebody else, and I remember like Sampdoria won, but I was kind of, I want to do Sunderland, and like I did something. I got sacked after like 6 months, so kind of the joke was on me. And then ironically, we went and did Sampdoria in the beta and got sacked by them as well. So to be fair, everyone won, really. So, turns out that FM didn't want to see me manage either of those 2 teams.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Because I love the fact that like the first thing, when I presented the London Monarchs, and it was the same idea that we discussed for a few versions of the game, and it was the fact that the whole premise of it is the whole shirt idea. The fact was that we're going to make these shirts, we're going to make them great, and then we're going to sell them, and the profits go to charity. And that was kind of the whole idea. So when we were making the shirts, it was a case of these have got to be something that people would want to wear, or have hung up behind them, right? And I remember literally, I probably spent an hour just going through everything. This is what we're going to do. This is it. This is the team. Here you go. Welcome to the Monarchs. And the first thing in chat just went, so what happens when you get sacked next week? You're like, shut it. Shut it. You just put all this whole weekend's worth of work, maybe 3 weeks worth of work, and then you go, oh, you get sacked. Brilliant.
But this is the thing though, man. We're talking about like, mentioning next year's saves, and like, I can't do one club saves. I know this about myself, right? I've done one once and fine, it went very successful, right? And I've dined off that save for the last 10 years, okay? But it doesn't work anymore, right? I don't know, I can't do it. And like
people are watching.
next year,
That's what it is.
next year, it probably is. It probably is. I'm going, oh, shit, I don't know what I'm doing now.
Can't
People can
save
see I
every
don't know what
load,
I'm
you mean?
doing.
No, I wouldn't question. I'm not putting you. I'm not questioning your integrity there. I did it for the humour.
Life was easier in FM10, right? We all know that. Okay. But I want to do York City next year because it's their centenary year. But I don't want to get sacked after 6 months ago. That was good, wasn't it? Here we are at Darlington, which is close by.
Wasn't it you that did a save, bought the shirt, and got sacked before the shirt arrived?
Sunderland.
That was
Sunderland. This turned up today. I also started a save as well because I killed a wasp once. Got sacked on there.
Sorry?
Yeah, I killed a wasp on stream.
Yeah.
Right. Apologies to anyone who's in the wasp community who obviously
Peter
now hates
is not
me,
happy.
Right? And
not the organisation, just the bloke that likes bees.
Well, likes bees, hates wasps, right? But yeah, I killed a wasp on stream and I felt really bad about it. So I spent the rest of the stream Googling teams who have wasps in their badge. Obviously not the obvious ones like Watford.
Yeah.
And there was a team in Italy called Juve Stabia who had a wasp on the logo and a poppy almost like as if to signify for the fall. And I was like kind of getting guilt tripped here, like this is the team I need to manage. And so we loaded it up and then people would be like, oh, what's the point of this save? I'm like, I killed a wasp. I have to do it like to say sorry to the wasp community. and then I got sacked after about 3 streams and we're like, fuck the wasps.
They're not as important as bees. I love the fact they're called Stabia and they stab you with their stings.
Yeah. Well,
like that.
we spent time making wasp emotes as well, and it literally lasted 3 streams, but we had fun for the 3 streams.
It's doubly awkward. Last week, Tony ran over a Russian oligarch, but he hasn't bothered with the Chelsea save yet. So, no commitment to the bit. No.
Did a meerkat last week. Now he's selling insurance. Is that what you're going to say?
It's all part of the story hunter you can see on Twitch on a Tuesday, Wednesday evening.
I like the fact that people are talking about next year's saves, though, because again, we're talking about mental health and that, and we see a lot of people come in and disappear. And I put a tweet out a couple of weeks ago about like what as a content creator, do you ever think about that last time that you hit stop streaming?
Yeah, I saw that,
and it's just like I just had a thought. Like I was almost driving to work, and I was like, one day I'm gonna hit stop streaming, and that'll be it. I'll never do it again. And I'm safe to say that I'm nowhere near that, But one thing I do want to say is, and we're talking about Football Manager and that, and I know you guys are great with Limo and the mental health side of things, is that it's okay not to stream and stuff. And I think like people that don't ever force yourself to do it, and don't ever think, oh, because the new games come out, I've got to start the next save and that. You got to be good with you and then go. And it's just something that really tickled a thought in my mind a couple of weeks ago, and it's still tickling a thought in my mind at the moment, because as you know, we're all going to get to that stage one day, and then what's next?
Yeah, you're right, and it's a great sentiment, like, because even like from a personal level, I know there's been days where I've been like just going, can't do today. Like we've got TJFM versus the community, like a little draft tournament that we have, like with our community. I've had to put it on hold a couple of times and be like, yeah, sorry, it's not happening. Like, I'm in the wrong headspace. And even with comedy, the last 2 years, granted, COVID had an impact, but there's still part of me has looked at pictures of people on stage and I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure. Like that's really weird, because obviously there's part of me going like, you have to do another tour, right? Like you're gonna have to get over this. Like, do I need to? I don't know. We'll see.
Do you know what's crazy? Right, again, we're gonna if you don't mind, I'm gonna tangent away from Football Manager. Have you seen the show on Amazon Prime, Catherine Ryan Backstage?
No, I haven't. I need to watch it.
Please do. Right, so as people may gather, I think I'm a funny person, and I've always said I'd love to do stand-up. Right, I think I'll be a better joke writer than a stand-up comic, because I don't think my delivery's on point, but I think I'm a funny guy. I've watched that show and I've gone, yeah, I don't think I can do it. when you're watching these like seasoned comics. So basically, what it is there's like 10 minutes of a comedy show at the end. The 50 minutes before are just everyone in the green room and in their dressing rooms and just chatting, having a laugh, and having a crack. And I'm going, you've got people like, I can't remember who was on it now, but so like you've got these seasoned pros and they're going, oh, I am nervous. Like Ivo Graham, for example, that's one. Like he's a seasoned pro, right? And he's going, oh, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. And I'm thinking, how are you like? You're amazing, and like you do this all the time, and you're nervous.
Ivo, just on a tangent, I did when Ivo first started. We did the end of year ball at Newcastle University, right? And Ivo was mates with one of the lads who went to the uni, so he was like, "Oh, I'll do it." I was like, "All right, cool." So we booked this gig, and I was hosting it. We turned up. I'd never been to a university ball before, so I didn't realize that it was all like tuxes and that.
Okay.
And Ivo tells me, "Going, if I knew it was tuxes, I'd have brought my own." I was like, "Of course you would have done, Ivo. Of course you would have done."
Yeah, no, he seems a funny guy, and but it's just like Nish. I think it was Nish Kumar, isn't it? He's the other one.
Nish is great as well.
Yeah, quality comedian, and yeah, he's there. You can see him pacing, and Rob Beckett was on it, I think. And again, you can see him pacing, and he's like, guys, you're meant to be like you. I thought this would be like the thing that makes me go, oh, I want to do this so bad. Actually, I don't know. Fair play to you, lot. When's your show, by the way?
Ooh, well,
I want to come. I don't know. I am definitely coming. I'm going to come to one of them. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll get some stuff. So we've sort of tentatively started plotting out a possible Football Manager Ruined My Life 10 years on.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see. But as I say, we need to work out if the story is fully told yet, and I don't know if it is or not. So we'll need to try and work all that one out, and then we can sit and dissect that and have a watch along again, because we did that on stream before.
Yeah,
that
just
was
let me know when
hilarious.
I got like tie away 17 hours of my life, and I'll make sure I free it up for you.
Oh, that was good. That was really good, actually.
Really good.
We'll start to wrap up actually a little bit. We'll start to wrap up, and we've got some questions from the community. Doop, obviously, we tweet out, going right. Who's got what? Who's going to ask us some questions? Mad FM.
Oh, brilliant.
Of course, you know Mad FM very, very well. Why does he love my quizzes so much? That was a question he's come up with.
Because they're horrendous. Like, they're so bad. And what it does is, like, if like he was naughty the week before and Matt has a go at him, he just goes, I'm going to do a 90s football quiz this week and Matt will love me again. So it's very biased. But I'm actually quite good at the quizzes. My football trivia is actually very good. So I do like them at times when I win. I hate them when I lose. Competitive.
It's reasonable. Reasonable. A question here from the 5-Star Potential podcast Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Why did Dave leave the pod?
I can't indulge that information. I hope to have him back very soon. I tell you now, if you want to know the real reason, join Football Manager Therapy Patreon, and when I'm on there or locking, I'll let you know.
Oh yeah, that's the point. Yeah, we are planning a drunk cast with Doop.
If you think I'm bad when I'm sober, imagine I'm pissed. I'm horrendous. I will splurge all then for you. Okay, that will be my last ever performance, and then I'll be cancelled.
Okay, well, that's why we're putting it behind a paywall. A last question from a Matthew Richards. Matthew Richards. That's a name that we've heard. No, it's similar to someone, isn't it? It's similar to someone that we used to know. He's asked a question: Snog, marry, avoid. Tony, Rich, or me? It's that guy. It's the lad that used to be on the podcast.
Oh, the quitter.
Yeah. Oh, I want to go to college. Anyway, I want to better myself. Anyway, snog, marry, and avoid. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna go. And I'm sorry because I'm gonna have to avoid one of you two. So I really do apologize. I'm gonna marry Matt, right? Because I think he's got a good life. I can see like 10 years in the future, the kids running up the stairs, the dog jumping on the bed. And I get up and on the balcony, Matt's got my paper and my little espresso. I think he'll be, be a good little husband. So I'm going to marry Matt. Okay. I'm going to avoid you, Tony. I'm really sorry.
It's understandable.
I wanted to snog you, and I still do, but it's the handlebar, like the old little flaky moustache that it just screams to me that I want that tickled on my top lip. So yeah, that would be my way of going about it.
I accept your terms and conditions. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, happy days.
Okay, right. So I suppose it's official. Then I'm off to 5-star potential podcast. Doop's taking over Football Manager Therapy,
and we're going to be snogging all day.
Yeah, the irony, it's Rich that's staying on the pod and not me.
Oh,
So
wow.
Yeah.
there you go.
No one
How
can
do you like
appreciate
them apples? Yeah.
How do you like your eggs in the morning without mustache in them? It's been fun, this one. We've got there in the end. In fact, actually, one more question. How hot is your room now, Doop?
It is currently 10:30. When we started the podcast, you'll be shocked to know, 2.5 hours ago, I was in a hoodie. And I went, lads, you're going to have to give me a minute. I currently have a fan at the back, which you can't see. And I have a fan under my feet. And it looks like it's raining in here. Okay? So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It gets warm up in these hills, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Yeah. Normally, I've got my butler just with the big leaf feeding me. But it doesn't work. He has to stand, you know.
You're not on 5-star wages tonight. You're on FMT wages. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I need the email just for the invoice. So let me know.
Yeah, it's Matt Richards
at university.com
at abetterlife.co.uk.
Who's laughing now.com.
Yeah, not us. That's what. Oh no, wait, no. Yeah, no, Dupe, it's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you on. Plug some stuff. Obviously, all the links for the London Monarchs gear is in the description. But yeah, plug away. Let us know where people can find you and what you're up to.
Yeah, I think the only thing I really want to say is a massive thank you to both of you. That's been great fun. If you're ever short of anyone, please let me know. I love just tossing around with you two. Good laugh, good fun. The only thing I want to plug is literally these shirts. At the end of the day, you can find me everywhere we're using Doop, but mainly let's have a look at these shirts. If you've got an ounce that you like them, just remember 100% to charity, and we are making kids' lives 100% better. They are currently in hospital with maybe not coming out of hospital. We could just spread that smile just one more time. So yeah, please do.
Lovely stuff. Rich, yourself?
In a change of pace, I've got 2 things to plug, if that's all right with you, boss. First and foremost, just all my socials. It's at Rich Owens FM, twitch.tv/Rich Owens FM, average streaming content. You know this. I have got a sneaky extra thing to plug, if that's okay. I am starting up. Pre-pandemic, I used to run a fairly successful new material night here in Worcester, where I live.
Not far from you. That's crazy. Sorry, go on. I just interrupted you. Sorry.
No, Dave, you listen to this. You should come.
40 minutes
oh, mate, come get involved. So starting on the 6th of July, my lovely little new material night is called Jokes and That. We run at a wonderful little bar called Heroes in Worcester. You can find us on Facebook. The page is literally Jokes and That. Jokes and That. We're on there. We're plugging all the gigs. First one is on the 6th of July. It's a free entry. It's a free comedy gig, and there are literally 6 of my favourite comedians from kind of up and down the country coming down to do some new bits. If you live anywhere in the Midlands, want to get involved, please feel free to come down. If you don't, move close to the Midlands and come to my comedy night, jerks. Please, it's not asking too much. You should come to all those things. What about you, Tony? Have you got a new material night to plug, or is it just streaming content?
Just streaming content.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Just usual places, to be honest. Tony Jameson on Twitter, Tony Jameson FM on Twitch. Yeah, that's about it. Patreon, of course, you can support the podcast on Patreon from as little as £1 a month, patreon.com/FMT pod. But more importantly, do check out the links for Doop's shirts in the description below and support a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cause. Doop, it's an absolute pleasure having you on, buddy. It will not be the last time for certain. We'll definitely get you back on again. We're looking forward to it already. But ultimately, that's the end of the show. So hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you're all taking care of yourselves. Stay safe, and we'll see you all again on another episode of Football Manager Therapy.